theorysabers.com.
Just because a movie or movie series is bad doesn't mean there can't be some good things about it. And when a series has this much money and, dare I say it, even effort thrown into it, it's good to...
Then you will die.
Does this guy not like the prequels? It's the vibe I'm getting here.
when that money and effort actually pays off. Are there more good moments than bad? Hell no. But it's only fair when a movie
What?
series, even one as bad as this, doesn't.
Oh, hell no. What?
See, now that's some bullshit.
They're not to be ignored and deserve being paid attention to. And we're gonna look at the top 11 of them here today. Why top 11? Because I like to go one step beyond. That kick-ass sword fight. The fighting in these movies definitely got a lot better when the prequels got started. Even the most intense moments in the original trilogy mostly kept to just two people tapping swords. But the storyline and characters still kept us interested. Well, since there was shit storyline and characters in the first film, they at least made up for it with a pretty cool sword fight. All of this is much better in contrast to the first film.
Hey, ObiWan, remember when we fought in that volcano through a pool of lava and death, surfing on tiny little machines and doing flips and kicks everywhere?
Yup, sure do.
Alright, so the reason there's a major discrepancy between the two fighting scenes is because in the novel for A New Hope, it was explained that both of them were extremely apprehensive of each other because of their battle on Mustafar. Very, very easy logic. So Obi-Wan was extremely apprehensive of Vader because he had grown more powerful, because he had been training, because he had fucking cybernetic limbs. He was taller, bigger, stronger. And Vader was afraid of Obi-Wan because he didn't know if he could still do the same shit that he did to him. I mean, imagine losing all your limbs and being burned alive because of a guy. You're going to take a little more care when you fight him. So there's that. Also in the novelization, which all were signed off by George extremely carefully. Obi-Wan, when fighting Vader, it was described that he was just fucking overwhelmed, beyond overwhelmed, on how powerful and big and strong Vader was, just physically, because of his cybernetics, just pushing back on him. Like, even the Force wasn't able to really help him. And he had noticed that he had become weak. And that's one of the reasons why he allowed himself to die, because he knew that, all right, he's not going to win. He hasn't trained the way he used to during the prequel trilogy, during the Clone Wars. And he had become, quote unquote, old, meaning, he just hadn't trained.
This is back when Ray Park was in everything. Sleepy Hollow, X-Men, Ballistic.
This is when, like, these people who don't know the lore and don't know stuff, they just watch it from a surface level. You cannot watch Star Wars from a surface level as some sort of a fucking film critic. You need to understand the reasons behind things. You need to understand the characters. It is an extremely community-driven and deep. You need to know deep shit when it comes to Star Wars and the characters, how they think, why they do certain things. Some shit, yeah, you can gloss over, no problem. But Star Wars is that type of franchise, at least the first 6 films, not anymore, where you need to really know the ins and outs. And that's why there's those books. That's why there's all the, the audio, radio drama. There's all the extra stuff in there that will explain to you why, to the questions that you have, which, like, this guy has.
He kicks some legitimate...
Which novels? It's the novelizations of the films. 6 films, 6 novelizations.
If you couldn't get into the story, at least you could get into the action.
Oh my god, this guy's insufferable.
Number 10.
Just so you know, Nostalgia Critic does hate the sequels too. That's like saying, hey, let's give this guy some credit. He doesn't eat shit. Alright, well, common sense, I guess.
After one movie, he decided to cut down Jar Jar, arguably a characterized version of Syphilis, to a much smaller role. Hell, in the third film, he doesn't even...
So yeah, that's the thing with George, is that when he thinks that a project always needs to be advancing, and so his cut of A New Hope, like, I remember when in my interview with Paul Hirsch, who worked on the original trilogy, I think he told us that it was like a museum history of movies or something. They wanted the original A New Hope cells or reel or something like that. And you'll have to watch the interview to get the full story, because I can't remember totally, but I remember the gist of it. And George sent them the updated version with all of the new cuts and the new effects, and they were like, no, George, this is an art museum. Like, we need the actual, this is a film history museum. We need the actual original one. He's like, no, this is the updated one. They're like, no, but we need the, he's like, no, this is the final file. This is the new one. This is what you get. This is how it was supposed to be watched. So he's always changing and tinkering things in time, and that's just how George rolls.
We do see him moving big objects around as well as just swinging around the sword. So he's kind of using all his abilities to his effect. Which of course asks the question, why does he need that cane if he's so fit? Why couldn't he just use...
He's conserving his energy. So he conserves his energy, and then when he needs to, he uses the force to allow his body, which is extremely aged now, to do the things that it does when he fights.
His powers to give his enemies a heart attack. I know, tons and tons of things that don't add up, but still, if it means watching Crouching Tiger...
Just because you don't understand the lore doesn't mean it doesn't add up. It just means you don't know it.
Maybe it's because so many other scenes are devoid of natural human reaction, but I think this shows two thinking people who know this is both a huge joy and a big problem. It's short, it's...
These kind of people are the most interesting to speak to because they think they speak with such a high morality. Like they come from a place of they know all and everyone else is beneath them.
You lack conviction.
They're not open to the fact that their opinion could be objectively wrong or that they don't see something. They always speak as if like what they see is all that there is and there is nothing else that can diffute. Like it's always a treat speaking to people like that. And they all sound the same. They speak very fast, and they have this like cadence to them. It's like they got a little bit of spit on the corners of their mouth. Like there's always that. It's always the same.
I'm not gonna act like this is a good performance. It's not. It's bland, it's emotionless, every line is completely monotone, but...
Supposed to be. He was doing this on purpose so that it would sound like Vader, so that you could have the clear distinction, or that you wouldn't really have much of a distinction between Anakin and Vader. So when he speaks, it's supposed to be like that. Also, he's a slave. Right? He's couldn't really have much of an opinion, especially when he became a Jedi. They were telling him to constantly let go of his emotions, to not have emotions, to not have any sort of emotion whatsoever. Remember how he was when he was 9? Full of emotion, right? And then when he came to the Jedi, they freaking castrated that. Literally the point. And he's doing a great job of acting that.
Are we really gonna blame Samuel L. Jackson for his bland delivery? You think the guy who does this...
I have had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane!
...is totally at home talking like this?
The oppression of the Sith will never return. You have lost.
It's because he's supposed to be very emotionless and neutral and pragmatic. It's the way of the Jedi. Also, he's battling a lot of fucking inner anger. That's why his lightsaber is purple. He has a lot of darkness within him, and he has to not teeter on that line. So he's got to draw it back a bit.
No, it's because I'm so in love with you.
So love has blinded you?
But I'd much rather...
Nah, bro, it's one scene. Like, come on.
I will do what I must.
Whether teacher, student, young or old, the spirit of ObiWan is definitely strong in this one.
So uncivilized.
Yeah, I think it, and nobody really had a problem with Ewan McGregor.
The Emperor.
No.
Okay, taking out some of his goofier moments near the end, the Emperor was the only thing in all the movies.
I don't know why he calls him goofy. I mean, imagine hiding your personality behind a mask for decades, and finally you can release. I mean, that's like holding in a a load for decades, and then finally you're about to pop. Live action catching a troll. A troll reply is this right here. Oh, I'm afraid that the deflector shield will be quite operational when your friends arrive. Just fucking trolling the shit out of Luke. Who's worried about his friends?
Because nothing in the original Star Wars was paying homage to anything else. Yes, it'd be better if the people in the world
I was fucking mad. I'm 77, dude.
gave him more of a personality.
Definitely
like
took inspiration from some other movies. Because it was a crawl.
But the original Star Wars, while many would agree is still a strong mythos, mostly stuck to its own story. We get a hint about Obi-Wan's past, but it's more of quick exposition.
Literally talking about the Clone Wars. You fought in the Clone Wars? Literally like giving a history right there, which then spawned 3 films.
One that has its roots in legend and may or may not have happened.
Did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis?
Right, but this pertains to what Anakin wants to do and how it plays into him needing more power and the fact that he learned from Plagueis, who could save people, well, manipulate life, I suppose, which falls into what Anakin wants, which is to save his wife from dying. But in the first 3 films, 4, 5, and 6, there wasn't any need for some sort of a fictitious what if, fantasy, folklore, mythological scenario, because it was about the last hope, Luke Skywalker becoming a Jedi to face the ultimate evil that is Vader and the Emperor. That was it. That was all.
Whole world and its mythos it creates to a completely different realm that the previous Star Wars movies never touched upon. It gave us a parable.
So, in a video I have coming out tomorrow, Ian McDiarmid, which you guys told me about, just actually revealed in an interview that there was supposed to be a show all about Darth Plagueis, which would have been literally a prequel to the prequels.
It's the first time not only did these prequels add something new, but it evolved Star Wars to a different level. Even if it is just one scene, even if it's not very long, it added a story within a story.
But you don't need to, why do you need to do that? Because it builds a world within the world? I mean, are you not doing it already with the story that you're telling and going to different worlds and focusing on the main plot? How about, did he miss the whole mythological part about there is a chosen one, there's a prophecy of a chosen one? And literally the whole thing, the whole plan was deviated to fulfill this mythical made-up prophecy that may or may not be true, which later on in the third, a prophecy misread could have been. Is this dude just, is he not paying attention?
And that's one of the biggest steps to making a world you want to feel more real be all the more believable. It's the first time the Star Wars prequels actually evolved the story.
How about the fact that Shmi explains that there was no father? That's an interesting bit of mythology right there. How about that?
To a better place than where the original Star Wars...
This is what happens when you get surface level people that have an IQ slightly higher than the average population, which is very, very, very easy to do, but also speak in a very authoritative tone as if they know what they're talking about and there is no other possible option or anything else to look out for. And therefore, it amasses a lot of the low IQ people that are like, oh, wow, okay, easily brainwashed. Like, oh, shit, this guy knows what he's talking about just because it sounds like they're just following a bigger sheep. That's all. You can't watch Star Wars surface level. And you can't review Star Wars as a surface level reviewer. I don't care how great of a reviewer you are. If you haven't done your due diligence in not only watching the films many, 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 many times, reading the novels of the movies, reading the novels in between the movies, doing the behind-the-scenes research, reading the art of Revenge of the Sith, the art of Attack of the Clones, the making of The Phantom Menace, you're not going to get the fucking full picture.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
You'll just be surface level, and that's why you'll have all these questions. Surprised that this even got 29,000 likes and 1.6k dislikes. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like,
Strong stands out. It's still worthy to draw attention to it and acknowledge what was closer to the right direction. At the very least,
the right direction. I love that. Creator creates something in his vision. Surface level guy comes in and tells him what the right direction is.
I'm a Nostalgia Critic guy, remember? So you don't have to.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. Thanks for the recommendation to watch that video.